Welcome to Wise Beyond Bitcoin, where you come for the crypto neo news, education, and opportunities. My name is Lucas.
My name is Ryan.
And
I'm Steve Yanich with PointsKash.
And I'm Brandon Yanich. I'm here at PointsKash as well.
And we're really excited, Steve, Brandon. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk about what PointsKash is. Ryan and I, we really like to find the innovation in blockchain and crypto as a market disrupting technology and where the value is being added. And we're just really excited. For those who don't know, I was able to meet Brandon at the Bitcoin Miami conference. And, you find other people who aren't maximalists, who are just looking for where the technology is naturally going. And we found each other. And after meeting you, and you told me a little bit about what you guys are working on, I said, brother, you have to send me a message. We need to meet up so that we can talk about what you're doing, because really what you guys are building, this is huge, not just for blockchain and crypto advocates who are already in this space, but this is great for those who aren't familiar with blockchain and crypto. It's really a natural, organic way to bring people together. And with our nerdy economics background, we always like to think about opportunity cost and those hidden values. You guys are really tapping in to a hidden value in finance in the market and bringing that liquidity, bringing that access to crypto. So allow me to say thank you for taking the time. I'm going to click right on over to your website. Oh, real quick, just to let people know, this is not financial advice or marital advice or legal advice or commercial advice or medical advice. It's just education, entertainment, information. We're sharing our research as we find it, and we're all learning this new emerging technology together. And there are people that are building this new technology, and we have some of those innovators right here today. So there's my spiel, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you, man. It was really nice to meet you at the conference too. I had a great time, and I mean, man, I think we sat there for like an hour talking. That was awesome, man. And you didn't even have a booth. Yeah, no, this is great. We love your channel. We love what you guys are doing.
Thank you. And we love what you're doing. So why don't you let people know what it is you guys are doing, kind of get into the nitty gritty of your background. Steve, if you want to talk a little bit about your background in finance and in Bitcoin and crypto, because we all have a little bit of veteran background when it comes to markets and in blockchain. So that's why we like to come together and see what's needed, where's the innovation, what can we do to take it further. And I know we talked a lot before the recording, so feel free to take it away and repeat yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. And I'm the CEO and one of the founders of the company. And like you said, my background's in finance. I work for some of the larger brokerage firms, financial institutions in the world, and all mostly in foreign exchange. And if you remember, foreign exchange was also similar to the traditional markets right back in the day when it was driven by telephone and not technology. And I was fortunate enough to actually make that transition to e-commerce. So we ran a wholesale distribution e-commerce desk where we were able to go to the banks, get liquidity. And to me, I mentioned that because it really transforms the way that market worked, but also where we are today. So we transformed the way people saw prices. So instead of seeing one individual bank via telephone, it was a multitude of maybe 100 or 200 vendors all pushing prices through one platform. And it really changed the face of the way the world transacted. So when you think about innovation like the internet, it not only changed the way businesses transacted, but also changed the way that the consumer was able to transact. So power, if you remember, we used to always say power is in knowledge, and the internet gives you that knowledge. And as we started to transform, we started to look in the future. We started to look toward digital infrastructure. And frankly, a lot of people don't realize, but everybody's there, right? So everyone is tied to a digital infrastructure. So to me, what gets really excited is finding new ways to approach that. So even back in 2014, we started to approach the digital asset market like we did traditional markets, looking for ways to bring prices on platform, give consumers the way to buy and sell. Back then, it was Bitcoin was primary, to be able to buy and sell Bitcoin, but do it in a simple and easy way, and actually be able to tie that into a wallet infrastructure. So very different than what traditional assets look like. And as the market started to evolve and change, we started to see that technology really grow. And then you started to see more tokens that came into the market that had real utility. And now with NFTs, we find that the utility of the NFT is what gets us really excited. So on our platform or our app, you'll be able to look and track at all your different rewards programs. So imagine you have the average household in America has 29 plus programs in their household. So imagine 29 apps on your phone. We consider ourselves kind of like an Uber in the fact that we'll allow you to aggregate all of these into one individual handheld, so on one app. And we allow you to monitor and track all your rewards points in real time, but even better, with the click of a button, you could turn that into cash, you could turn that into a crypto, or you can even purchase NFTs on our marketplace, all done through the app, which to me is really exciting because in most cases, you have to go to multiple places to see this. So from our perspective for the consumer, it's a simple, easy way to really be in the digital world and have it all in one place. Then from a marketing perspective, a business perspective, we also engage with the consumer as PointsKash. So different than Venmo or a PayPal, we actually give rewards points to every consumer that uses our app. So if they make a transaction wallet to wallet and they send their points or money to a friend or make a payment, we give them points. So we're always engaging in consumers, so they're always getting value for what they're spending. And then when we looked at this entire value proposition from a business perspective, we looked at how businesses now can engage further with the consumer. So if you think about the American Airlines or the banks or hospitality like the Marriotts of the world, they truly want to market to the consumer. We give them a way to market to the consumer all the way to the cash register, which they've never been able to do before. But also within an infrastructure where now they could use the utility of an NFT. And when I say the utility of an NFT, outside of the apes and the cool art and all the stuff we've seen within the NFT marketplace, I think there's a true win for marketing with NFTs. So if you look at like and I'll use a hotel chain where they have sometimes in the millions of members within their rewards program, well, here's a way to mint and distribute NFTs on a platform that we've developed on, which is also developed on the Algorand blockchain, which makes it very cost effective, very simple, and very easy to mint and distribute hundreds of thousands of NFTs right into your digital infrastructure down to the consumer. And frankly, businesses have never been able to do that before. And it's very cost effective. So it's pennies on the dollar versus using other technologies that become much more expensive. And frankly, it's not that it's budget technology. It's one of the best technologies out there. It's the fact that we could do it on a budget, which gets us really excited. So now you could really market to the masses using what I think is the most exciting marketing, transformational marketing tool. And as we discussed, the disruptive tool that we've ever seen, and not only rewards, but rewards, marketing, and digital assets. So yeah, we're really excited about the opportunity. But more exciting, I get very excited about the technology that's been, that's been brought to us to be able to develop on. And yeah, it's good to be more excited to be here today and talking with guys like yourselves, because the world is transforming to complete digital.
I appreciate that very much. Many things that you said resonate. I am one of the last generations to grow up and see what it was like before pagers and beepers and cell phones and computers. And you brought a very good point, because many people don't realize that the financial markets existed before internet in our lifetime. Like there was still the stock market and all these things that people are used to, Robinhood apps and used to having all this digital access and email, even email now. There was a time when on the Today Show, people were joking, mainstream journalists were joking about needing email or that being a thing. So to recognize the value that a new technology brings to opening up to more people, the liquidity, the access, I think that you have a rare place to be, a rare insight to be able to have that perspective. And I definitely appreciate that. You mentioned so many things. And Ryan, if something you want to mention, just jump in there, brother. I wrote a couple down.
I got a thought.
Say it.
In the age we're in right now, with like inflation creeping up, maybe even 10% later on this year, who knows? It's high. It's high. It's an all relative high for the last 20, 30 years. So it's great to see a pathway to convert rewards points, something that you probably wouldn't even think about as a consumer. You have airline rewards and other rewards points, but that's not something you really think about as being able to access and to turn into money, or I know it can, but it's just not at the forefront of your mind. And so to make it easy, and to make it easy to convert it and to get a position in crypto, I think that's really innovative. But I didn't even realize what you were saying about the marketing side, how you could mint and distribute NFTs through your platform from a marketing perspective. That's brilliant. And with the gas fees being lower, obviously this wouldn't work on ETH. So Algorand, I really like what you're doing. It's interesting. And I think, like we said earlier, the time for we're at the right time for this. It's businesses are now understanding that NFTs and blockchain is here to stay. So they're trying to find a pathway to make use of these new ideas. And then consumers, of course, are stretched right now and squeezed because of the financial situation. So this seems like a win-win, for me. The timing, it really couldn't be better.
Yeah, and I think it's really the perfect time to kind of lower that entry level barrier, because it really, the average consumer is on a paycheck to paycheck income, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it makes it really hard to start thinking about investing when you're also thinking about filling your tank on gas and paying for your child's next meal. So I think to be able to spend points, which nobody really thinks of as money, and to actually be able to convert that into something and now invest it and grow it into something that can change your future. I think that's huge.
Well, and we say that because from a liquidity perspective, if you look at the airlines, especially, and some other large institutions, they've used those programs for their own liquidity. So they've been able to float bonds and borrow that liquidity. So from a consumer perspective, we believe that, those are all of that has been generated for these businesses by the consumer. And I think, from our perspective, it's time to give a little something back. And I love the fact that from an economic perspective, you use 10%. And I would completely agree with you, except for when I get to the gas station, it's up 100%, right? So
right.
If you actually look at the stuff that you and I go buy on a daily basis, and you take out, all of the different things that we don't touch. So when you think about what we buy on a daily perspective, it's 70%, it's 80%.
Yeah.
I do a lot of the grocery shopping, so I can tell you milk's up almost 100%. So your common items to feed your family, to purchase gas, and I always use gas because that's just such a sore spot for everybody. When you think about common items, they're up dramatically. And when I also think from a marketing perspective, because I'm, sales and marketing was my business, but I could tell you, if I was sitting at the gas station, I pulled up 5 rewards programs, and only 4 of those allowed me to buy gas today. Let me tell you, my loyalty is going to be towards those 4 companies every time I do something, right? Because they're actually helping me on a daily basis, feed my family, buy gas, like really be part of my life. And for me, we thought that this would be just a tremendous way to reward the consumer at a time when we feel like they need to be rewarded, but it also has to be cost effective for everybody. So we make it so easy to engage. We don't, there's no, like you say, gas fees. We try to get frictionless when it comes to fees. So the consumer's not paying fees. When it goes wallet to wallet, there are no fees. So we try to make it frictionless for the consumer. And what we do is when, these large companies want to market to the consumer, we charge for marketing and data, and that's how we make our money, right? So we also have a treasury product because we also feel like, those bulk points and those bulk points distribution, where we can help in that process and unloading points, helping airlines in a time of need. We want to be a part of that process. And what we do is we use stablecoin. There's nothing better than using stablecoin, earning interest, and not taking a liability, turning it into an asset. So from our perspective, the technology, I go back to 2014, it wasn't ready. Today, the reason we launched this business because technology has caught up to all of us. It's caught up to the consumer. It's caught up to the traditional platforms. It's caught up to the traditional rewards program. And frankly, right now, times are very different. And you mentioned, the times without a cell phone. So you see, I'm just over 25. So I remember those times of not having. And I remember those times of not having a cell phone. But that's changed so much. I remember when I was 22 years old, I went to my first due diligence, and they spoke about ATMs and selling 7-Elevens, and I thought to myself, who's going to go to 7-Eleven to get money, right?
Right.
And now it's a click of a button, So from our perspective, it's about making it easy, but also using state-of-the-art technology that makes it simple, cheap, and easy to transact. And that's how we built our business. And yeah, I think we've hit a time where technology's met the consumer, and frankly, we're building. It's tough to build something for such a large demographic, and you guys could imagine the demographic in the space is huge. I think we've been able to target the spectrum of the millennial, but also building something that excites the Gen Z. The Gen Z consumer is different in the fact that when I was in college, we used to try to get $1 together to buy a sandwich. The kids today are very innovative, and with the internet, they're building their own businesses. Their ways, they make money in ways that we've never been able to. So they have disposable income, and I think that if you build it for the Gen Z as well, which I think every credit card company, every airline, every business out there should be targeting the Gen Z, because that's the next consumer that's going to be the mass purchaser. So from our perspective, I think we've been able to build something that really kind of fits the masses, and especially something that's being built where we're innovating the digital transformation. And there is one thing I want to mention, and we're launching something called PK Hangouts. And what that is it's an outreach program. And this is why I say technology kind of meets, the social world, and the fact that our outreach program is to be able to touch young children of today, kids that don't have a chance to learn about digital assets or have that infrastructure, where we're creating events where they could come out and they can, if they're artists, they're going to be able to go into a virtual room and spray paint a piece of art, but also mint it, create a wallet, and learn about digital infrastructure for themselves. And we're doing that with music and sports as well. So so our reach to the young consumer is also very important. As we and I think we've all heard this as kids, where if you give them a fish, you feed them once. If you teach them to fish, you feed them for a lifetime. I think there's a lot of kids that are in neighborhoods that don't have a chance to be able to bring their creativity into the digital world. And I think here's a great way for us to help and do it. And we actually will create the entire infrastructure for them. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we're doing, and I think innovative, to really kind of get the digital framework out there.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Yeah, I would love to be a part of that. Let me know if you guys have any functions or events that you're wanting to put together. We're currently in the Texas area, but continental US based at the moment. So, but we're all about education. This channel is not sponsored or promoted, nor are we sponsored or promoted by PointsKash. We just really enjoy what they're bringing to the table. So if you love this kind of content and want to support us, we've got some links below. We'll also leave their link below, so you can support them directly and be a part of this. I look forward to being a part of this and joining the community and learning what you guys are doing. Now, you mentioned Algorand. We've just kind of, it's one of the, we just talk about it, but for many people that are new to blockchain or crypto, they might not have ever heard of Algorand. And Bitcoin seems to be the big blockchain that most people have heard about, or Ethereum. So could you talk a little bit as to why you chose Algorand? It is its own blockchain. It is not an EVM fork, correct? It is not the Ethereum model. It's its own.
Actually, one of the cool things about Algorand is it's actually completely unforkable.
Yeah,
that was one of
cool.
our
Yeah, when we looked at the technology itself, it was from our perspective, and we did a ton of research, we found it to be probably at the top of the heap. When you look at the asset itself, when you look at the functionality, I don't know if you guys know, Texas is my second favorite place outside of Florida. But
that's funny because I just went to Florida for the first time and declared it to be my favorite place that I can't wait to go back.
Well, we as my kids were growing up, we became a Jeep family, so love the four wheel and ride dirt bikes. So Texas is one of the best places in the world to do that. But yeah, the technology for us was key. We wanted to find something that was state of the art, that had a tremendous future, and that also gave us the functionality, but also the ability to be able to distribute on to the masses. And the reason that we chose them is not only the economic structure, but also the true value behind the technology and the team. I think they've just done some amazing things. And I think, as when you start to look at true utility, I think they have probably one of the best use cases out there. And I think we're seeing a lot of really good technology using Algorand and being built on Algorand. And I don't know if you know about the mayor of Miami, but he takes 50% of his income in algo.
Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that. Well, in my research, I have heard, I have good feelings towards Algorand. I'm not a coder or developer, so I have to only do so much research, read the papers, and then some of it is feeling. But yeah, I absolutely have strong good feelings about Algorand. The reason I brought up the coin market cap through Nomics is because we're all about education, and really, once you start learning about what exists in the space, it's not as diverse. It's not so complicated. There's Bitcoin, there are some forks, there's Ethereum, there are some EVM chains, there's a list of stable coins, and every once in a while, you might find something that's on a different chain, right? I would say like IBC, Cosmos, Atom, and Terra, but Avalanche, an EVM fork. A lot of these are EVM compatible forks. So to see Algorand and understand that it is a different blockchain, and it actually is a smart contract platform that was designed to be used with utility, I get real excited about what you guys are doing, because here we go, already in the top third on this, but different websites listed different places. It's definitely one of the blue chips. I call it one of the blue chip smart contract platforms. If you're looking at what exists, if you're looking at what exists in blockchain and crypto, what are the different places to invest? What are the different markets that are out there? Well, smart contract platforms is one of the largest in blockchain space. And what makes it valuable is what can be done on it. And you guys have mentioned, I wanted to talk about NFTs real quick, because we kind of joked about it and agreed beforehand. A lot of NFTs in the market today are getting their value off of a hype that is not really long-term sustainable. And we appreciate it from a technological perspective, because we recognize that NFT technology will be around for a long time as a part of Web 3.0. But I think many people that don't realize that, they think that, because it's an NFT, it's going to be worth 5 ETH or 10 ETH or 30 ETH. And really, that's not how it works. That it could easily be worth nothing tomorrow. And really, the value behind NFTs, for those who see the future of blockchain, the real value behind NFTs is not just representing art on a JPEG from an artist, which can be great. There are some great artists out there that build communities together, not to knock that, but the hidden value is that exclusivity, it's that membership, it's that ticket, it's that access, that utility that can be verified. It's not counterfeit. You can't counterfeit it, and it protects value on chain in a non-fungible way. So I love what you guys are doing, because recognizing that you're thinking of ways to give people NFTs that have value, that have rewards. And I think that that's really the future. I mean, that's really what NFTs, a lot of the technology is all about. So congratulations and thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's exciting because like you had mentioned that in one of our first contracts was with a group called Skybox, which is an agent out of the NFL and the NBA. And their whole goal was to be able to now recruit players. You have to remember, they call it N&I, name and like. So, kids now in college can start to really monetize themselves early stage and actually put that into their contract moving forward. And he's done a lot of collective bargaining agreements and others. But when you think about from a recruiting perspective, but also from a player perspective, where you can now take a portion of your contract, maybe you take 10% of your contract as a rookie, you want to bring some money in and monetize part of that and sell it to your fans. So now your fans get to own a piece of that contract. And I can tell you from enjoying sports, man, sitting at the bar and be able to say, I own a piece of one of my favorite players,
Yeah, it's huge.
That goes from a small fraction to, a big bubble. The fish was this big, So there's some, and like you said, there's some exciting things that can be done outside of, just some of the cool stuff we've seen with pictures. And also like you had mentioned, it's early stage. And I think I read about, Twitter's NFT where it sold for 2.6 million, now worth $6,800. So when you think about the investment perspective, I think you buy utility. I think the utility is really exciting. And like you said, and we're going to announce an agreement very shortly where we'll be able to distribute, well over 100,000 NFTs into a rewards and loyalty program that unlocks special value. And that could be from an upgrade on a hotel or an airplane or discounts. It really is, I think I'd mentioned this. To me, it's like when the internet was invented, like this is probably the biggest disruptor in technology that we've ever seen. And it's so exciting because of all the things you can do and that high touch. I'd mentioned, if I was a rap artist or a music artist and I wanted to get my music out there and it's tough to get a contract, here's a way to go to the consumer directly where you can create NFTs, you can create that music, you sell that music now through an NFT and you sell it to your fan base. And those are the people that now support you. I think there's just so many exciting things that the infrastructure provides, the utility provides, that really is going to decentralize. I say it's going to decentralize everything, right? We've all discussed the fact that, tickets, I was discussing this with one of the sports teams and frankly, if I wanted to go to a game and take, my wife and kids, I'm talking about 5 tickets with an average of $500 to $700. You can't buy tickets for $60 or $80 anymore because you can't even get them. Where now stadiums could actually take control of those tickets, right? Because once they sell the ticket for $80, $100, or $200, they're done. Now it's the next level that gains all the income. If you think about where a team can really now touch the consumer, it could do a drop of tickets to the consumer directly. So now, I can buy, 5 tickets at $80 for my family and have those tickets. And now they're an NFT. So like you said, they are authenticated. You can't replicate that. So, and I think that also creates value. If you think about memorabilia, what kind of value that truly creates. We had discussed this. Imagine, how many times have you been at the stadium and you see somebody on a jumbotron, right? That happens once in a lifetime. Imagine if you were on the marketing department, you took a picture of that, you turned it into an NFT, now sent it to the fan, and now the fan has that engagement in an NFT for the rest of his life. Like, there's so many cool things you could do with this. That the infrastructure, the utility, as you say, is truly what gets us excited about what we're developing and building. And this is so early stage that I think watch out Twitter, watch out, Facebook. Here comes PointsKash.
Very much.
That's awesome.
Very much. I'm excited with because you guys, there is going to be a way for people to engage. Not only is this rewarding the communities for American Airlines or rewarding the communities for Marriott or whichever companies would like to help add value to their community by engaging, but you're also rewarding those in the PointsKash community for using PointsKash. So it's actually, there are multiple ways to benefit from rewards programs with you guys. Yeah,
different than all the other apps that actually charge you as a consumer. listen, this isn't 4 years ago where pockets were heavy and it was $2 gas. I go back to that because I think that we've gotten to a point where people are being much more frugal, and they're looking for pools of liquidity. And like I said, businesses have been using it for liquidity for a long time. I think it's time for the consumer to be able to do the same thing. And to me, that gets really exciting. And I know I mentioned, aggregation a lot of times. And from a business perspective for the programs, I don't expect them to throw all their points in a pool. What I expect them to do is have real estate on my platform so they could be there and they can help marshal that consumer to the gas register and say, hey, listen, as American Airlines, I'm willing to be there with you and I'm willing to help pay for that gas. So there's no, from a consumer perspective, like that is the most powerful message you can deliver right now.
And I love that you mentioned the decentralization and what you guys are doing by taking some of that value that, as we know, commercial banks, intermediaries, they're able to use that for loans, and they're able to tap into it for liquidity, and using this technology to take some of that liquidity, tap into it, and bring it down to the individual. That's actually, everyone has a bias. Our channel's not promoted or sponsored, but that is our bias. Our bias has always been, what is disruptive in a good way? What's the creative destruction that's going to change the market from horse and buggies to cars, or cell phones, from landlines, and what that communication will bring. The idea is that's what we like, and what you guys are doing is bringing that, not just the theory of what can be done with blockchain, but actually building it out with utility. And I'm going to mention again, Algorand, only because there's a lot of utility. There are things being built on different chains. I think Ethereum and a lot of the EVM chains are great experimental grounds of what can be done, so that other people can see, oh, okay, this works, this doesn't work. And there might be some final products being built there. But the reality is what you guys are doing on Algorand cannot be repeated on an EVM. I mean, to be able to mint that many NFTs for ticketing, for sports, or for rewards programs, there's a reason why y'all chose Algorand. And that's why we do this channel. We're about education. We make mistakes, we learn, we like to grow and learn with this technology. So for anyone watching this video and listening and learning, understand from a development perspective, from a practical application perspective, you actually have things being done on Algorand right now, real time, that you can't do on other chains. So that to me kind of sticks out, rings a,
Yeah, absolutely. That's, like I said, sometimes technology catches up to you, and frankly, without the ability to do this on this type of a blockchain would be almost impossible. And I want to touch on one thing that you said, because you nailed it on the head. And we keep kind of repeating the fact that it's the utility. But when you think about that utility, it is so exciting. And when you think about, and I'll use the big airlines, I'll use the big corporations, right? For years, when they needed liquidity, they went back to a bank, they went to a hedge fund, they went to a money manager, they went to where they saw their liquidity. Yet here's the interesting part to me. All of that's been created for these corporations. United Airlines, their rewards and loyalty program was just assessed at greater value than the entire company itself. And who created that loyalty? Me and you. It's right. People like us that created that loyalty. And never in the past have we truly been able to benefit. It's been the big hedge funds, it's been the big banks. This decentralizes that infrastructure. Now they could truly give back to the consumer that created that loyalty and truly created that value for these businesses. Why would you not want to give a portion of that back to the consumer?
Especially in these times, what a great move for these larger companies to say, hey, you know what? We know times are tough. We know that the price at the gas pump and groceries, and we've got this huge untapped pool, and there are ways. I mean, that would, to me, as you said, is from a consumer perspective, is like, I want to go with that company. They're the one that
this is true social equity, right? If you really want, you want to think about it, here's true social equity in my eyes. Yeah. Give it back to everybody. You're talking about $500+ billion. I've done a lot of research on social spending. It's approached $11 trillion. And we're not, we could keep going.
Even if you say 500 billion, is that what you said is about in the rewards sector?
Yeah, unredeemed. It's actually probably a little bit greater than that, but that's $500 billion that they could give out to the public and allow them to tap into that today.
That's a quarter. That's a quarter of the total market cap of crypto.
Which is a quarter of the total market cap of all of crypto and blockchain. So for those who want to understand, this is a big deal. We're not talking about, a small amount.
No, it's and here, and who created that? It's my spending, your spending. We call it a social spending network for a reason. It's because we created this network. We created this value. And frankly, some of these businesses wouldn't even be here today if it wasn't for this value we created. And I understand in the past, it was very difficult to monetize that down to the consumer. And then here comes the NFT world, which changes all that. So it does allow them really to now go down to the consumer and say, you know what, here's true value. We're going to take those points and we're gonna go ahead and let you spend them any way you want. And we're the first ones to come out to market the way we do this, including the fact that we reward every member every time they shop with us. I think it's really exciting because technology is here today, and we want to be at the forefront of this using what's coming.
Well, that's really my favorite part of this whole thing is how this enables the consumer to have access to a value that they created initially, and that they weren't able to access prior. And it was more the purview of a small group of people in a centralized manner. We're so big into decentralization, not because of some kind of bias that makes no sense. It's really rooted in just wanting to see a fairer world, right? It's not decentralization for decentralization's sake, but it's decentralization to get to a fair more social equity. So really what you're highlighting is my favorite part of this whole thing is how it inverts the way things are typically done and flips the value in a way that rewards the many instead of the few.
I always say, put your money where your mouth is. Well, they've been saying this and they keep marketing it. Well, it's time to do it, right? And like you said, that's value that we created for them. So when you think about United Airlines and you think of the value that you and I and every consumer created for them, why would you not want to use that in a marketing message to give that right back to the people that helped you versus a large, like you said, a centralized small group of people that have access to the huge capital, and now you have 5 or 6 benefiting versus hundreds of millions. So from our perspective, we wanted to decentralize that whole space and really bring it right down to the consumer. We created that value. We believe we should have some of that value back. And frankly, in these economic times, there's going to be a handful of programs that see the benefit and say, hey, look, it's time to reward the consumer, and then use that in our message because we've been saying it, we just keep doing it,
right.
So that's really what gets us excited. And I'll go back to the utility of Algorand. A lot of this wouldn't be fungible if we were able to, if we didn't have a blockchain like theirs.
Right.
They really
the gas fees would eat you up.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do it. So that's what gets us, to the point where we are today, and where it's I can't sleep at night thinking about this stuff. So to me, it's that exciting. And this is really recreating the way the world thinks.
Yeah, the way things are done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you said, right, our bias for decentralization is for practical reasons, not just for decentralization's sake itself, but for the egalitarian, for the harmonious outcomes that it can make the world a better place, for more efficiency and redundancy. Because one thing I think you might be able to appreciate, having seen this great leaps of technology over our generation and time, is that with all this might and all this technology, there is still a very, very fragile system that underpins a lot of economic activity that is maybe unnecessary. We should have more resilient institutions and systems that aren't, at the whim of crumbling due to certain things. Now, what you are doing here is an aspect of creating that redundancy. Here we've got a financial people teetering on being able to barely float their bills month to month. And you've got this big elephant in the room, this huge untapped value of rewards that some people have been able to tap into for periods of time. And where this technology is finding a way to decentralize and tap into that value that's always been there and help people breathe, help people have access and to stay afloat during these times. So that's kind of an example of the redundancy now that can be brought, because when people suffer, the economy suffers. And if we can find a way to bring that untapped value to prevent suffering and to provide strength to carry through uncertain times, that's really what this is all about. This is a beautiful example of what blockchain and technology can bring.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because also when you look at the technology, it's probably the most green friendly as well, which makes a big difference in using a lot of these different blockchains. So when you look at using Algorand, it's probably the most green friendly blockchain out there, which also got us very excited about what we're doing. Listen, it's time for the billions of dollars that float around the world, and I came from the world's banks and brokerage firms and that infrastructure. So, what happens is you have a handful of people that kind of move around some of the largest capital in the world, and they make all the decisions for everybody. And I think, as we've seen over the past few years, and I've been a part of that movement myself, in the fact that it's been great to see where, people could get together as the masses and say, you know what, we're putting a stop to this. There's no more. If I want to go to the movie theater, guess what? I'm going to make sure I go to the movie theater, and me and all my friends are going to pile on, and we're all going to make sure we get to go to the movie theater. But now, how do you get that movie theater to function and grow? So from our perspective, we want to introduce to all the things that we've fought for. We want to introduce ways to get the Gen Z excited about going back into that movie theater, right? Not only did we save it, now let's figure out how we keep them going and get them into the digital world. So I think creating tickets and NFTs, creating environments where when I go to the movie theater and they have those, I may go for my wedding, for my anniversary, they do birthday parties. There's all these events. You can now create NFTs for these individuals who are there to actually give them a true experience like they've never had before. So there's so much you could do. And I think it all comes down to, we're decentralizing, social behaviors. We're decentralizing,
right.
From my perspective, when you could take, and I'll use one of the larger programs, $20 billion at United in unlocked value in their rewards and loyalty program. Like, let's give that back to the consumer that actually gave you the ability to run that huge business, become who you are, because it certainly wasn't the hedge fund that stood there behind you. It was every individual consumer that showed up at the airport consistently, that went and saw his grandmother, that went and saw his grandfather, that took his kids to college. Those are the consumers that showed up every day and made sure that United Airlines had a program that was so robust that the value of it is greater than the whole. To me, it's time to give something back to individuals, and we've built a platform that'll do it, and do it with a frictionless, simple, easy way to manage. And frankly, if I want to take $100 in rewards points and I want to buy crypto, that's great. Like, how exciting is it? I've now taken my spend and turned it into an investment. And
Right.
frankly, the people that will be able to do that are the people that don't have the ability to do that any other way.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that this unlocks a value that people would have access to, so they can, invest, like you say, and that is money that that's money that they wouldn't invest otherwise. And
Yep.
what I'm thinking is this is good for crypto in general, because now there's a massive amount of value that can come flowing in that otherwise would have been locked out.
Yep. And we give them a way to spend it too. So they can even turn crypto into a Visa or a debit card and go out and spend it too. So we truly want to increase that utility.
Nice.
So listen, if you take, you own a crypto, you buy the dollar, it's at $2, and you need some money. It's a great way to go out and say, okay, well, now I'm going to do some shopping, and I'm going to use the money that I made, and that money may have been earned through purchasing airlines tickets for travel. So when you think about that whole liquidity aspect of what we're doing, it just gets me excited. And the fact that we can unlock up to, $500 billion and another $200 billion annually. Just to me, the consumer that brings, you want to inject capital into infrastructure and actually, bring us out of a recession. Here you go. There's so many ways we could do it. And the consumer will go out and he'll spend it and he'll enjoy it and there will be real loyalty. Like we keep pitching this and we keep saying the fact that, you want loyalty, you want a reward. And United Airlines I use because they've said it the best, because when other airlines had the chance to kind of take the rewards program and say, we're going to devalue it. United Airlines came in and said, not only do we not want to devalue it, we want this to be a reward to our customers. So we're going to let them spend it. That's where I think you create real loyalty and real reward. You don't do it by, continuing to take.
No, it's all about, success in the market is usually, I mean, if things are working the way they should, found through, meeting the need of the consumer better than the next guy. So, and this is a way to do that.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the market cap of Algorand. It's at 4.86 billion, just under 5 billion. And we're talking about a rewards industry that has close to 500 billion, 100x the actual market cap of Algorand. That's how early you are if you're just now learning about blockchain and crypto, that the smart contract platforms are just their market caps themselves are just emerging to the industries that they're really looking to support. This is just one market, one industry that a smart contract application can be designed the way y'all built it, that can now access huge amounts of value out in the market. And it's just one application. Algorand can be used for other things like you mentioned, ticketing and sports agencies and changing the game literally and figuratively. So this is just very cool, very exciting. I'm really glad that you guys took the time. I don't want to spend too much time because I want the algorithms, the Algorand algorithms, to be short enough that people will click, and we'll do a follow-up with you guys for sure. I definitely would like to be involved because we learn just by kind of getting our hands involved from these new projects that are innovating. And so whatever we can do to be a part of the process, definitely let us know. And before we end the recording, let other people know if they're excited, they're like, wow, something fresh in crypto and blockchain. People are building something out. I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that community. And I want to see if I can access some rewards. Well, what can people do? Yeah,
so if they go to our website, there's no sign up buttons all over the place. So go to PointsKash with a K, PointsKash with a K, and sign up. We're getting ready to go live next month. So what we're going to do is we're going to give out 10,000 rewards points to, I think, the first 10,000 or so signups. But we do have some partners that should actually bring us into the hundreds of thousands or hopefully into a couple million downloads in the first month or so. So we're pretty excited about what we're doing, and yeah, we're hoping to bring the rewards and loyalty space into the digital world.
This is cool. Thank you so much. I'm excited about what you guys are building. Hey, when you are in Texas or when you've got an event in Miami, Brandon, give me a booth to run for you guys out there.
Of course, man. Of course.
For sure, guys.
Ryan and I will run the booth and then we'll hit up the beach afterwards. We'll make it
That's it.
That'd be awesome, man.
And then we come out there, we're going four-wheeling.
Exactly.
All right. That's a deal.
I think I'm going to wrap up the video unless you guys say your piece, whatever you'd like to say. I look forward to bringing you back on and continuing the conversation because, like I said, there's a lot of glitter, there's a lot of glam in blockchain and crypto buzzwords and NFTs. But when you really have been around for a while and you sift through how many are forks, another AMM, another DEX, another yield aggregator, what is going on this chain? And when you find applications, private messaging or accessing rewards programs, when you find certain blockchains in communities that are actually building value, this to me is what it's all about. So last time, people can sign up now to get started early, and y'all are rolling out in the
next month in May, beginning of May.
So we actually got to talk to you guys before you roll out mainnet.
Yeah,
Yep.
we did. We're just getting ready to put everything in the app stores and everything else. So we're just getting ready to go to market, and yeah, we're really excited about the opportunity. And frankly, as we had discussed earlier, we're looking to decentralize social behavior, which I think is really cool.
That's it. That's what it's all about. I'm going to wrap up the video here. I'm going to say namaste until the next time. Have a beautiful day. You guys say your piece, and I'll end the
Thanks,
recording
guys.
now.
Hey, we
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thanks so much for having us on, and absolutely, anytime you guys want, we'll be here for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
And
guys.
don't forget to like and subscribe on Wise Beyond Bitcoin.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Of course.
Hit the button.
Yeah, and the whales know what to do.
Yeah.